Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to dig into a challenge that's been brewing for decades but is really reaching a boiling point: the explosive growth of cities in the developing world. And to do that, we're going to look at a landmark document from 1987, the Brundtland Report, to uncover a story of crisis, incredible resilience, and a pretty radical vision for our urban future. Okay, so first things first, let's just try to wrap our heads around the sheer scale of what this document was calling an urban revolution. Because the numbers here are, well, they're just mind-blowing. So check this out. The report projected this number: 750 million new people would be pouring into the cities of the developing world. Just to give you a sense of scale, that's more than double the entire population of the United States today. And here's what's really wild: the speed of it all. This wasn't some slow, gradual change. It was a tidal wave. Cities were basically expected to increase their capacity for everything: housing, services, infrastructure, by a staggering 65% in just 15 years. So you can imagine this just raised a massive question. How on earth can a city possibly handle that? The short answer: it couldn't. The systems just weren't built for that kind of pressure, and that led straight to a breakdown on a huge scale. And that breakdown, well, the report doesn't mince words. It calls it a crisis of the highest gravity. For millions of people, that dream of a better life in the city was quickly turning into a nightmare. You see, this explosive growth created this awful, vicious downward spiral. With all the official systems completely overwhelmed, millions of people found themselves with nowhere decent to live. No clean water, no sanitation systems to speak of. Public transport was just packed to the breaking point. And all of this led to the explosion of so-called illegal settlements, and of course, the diseases that just thrive in those conditions. And listen to this quote from the document itself. It really paints a grim picture. It's not just that services were failing, it's that the very physical structure of the city, what it calls the urban fabric, was literally crumbling. Public buildings were just falling apart. Okay, so if the governments and the official city planners are totally failing to keep up, you gotta ask, right? Where are these millions of people living? Who is actually building the homes and the neighborhoods for this massive wave of people? And this, right here, is where the report takes a really fascinating turn. The whole focus pivots away from the failing institutions, and it starts to look at the incredible resourcefulness of the people themselves. It identifies the true builders. And the answer, it turns out, is what we call the informal sector. Now, this isn't some dry economic term. This is the lifeblood of these growing cities. Think about it. It's the street-side food stands, the neighborhood repair shops, the self-taught carpenters and masons who are building entire communities, one brick at a time. It's this massive parallel economy, all operating outside the official rules, and it was a powerful engine of urban growth. This quote from a testimony in the report, man, it just flips the whole script. Instead of looking at the people in these settlements as a problem that needs to be solved, it recognizes them for who they really are: the primary agents of change, the true builders, designers, and even the managers of their own neighborhoods. And that's the key, right? These communities weren't just sitting around waiting for a handout. They were out there actively building their own houses, creating their own jobs, and starting their own businesses. They were tapping into this huge reserve of human potential that the formal systems had completely ignored. So once you recognize this incredible energy coming from the ground up, the Brundtland Report doesn't just suggest, a few small fixes. No, it proposes a totally radical new way of thinking about how to govern a city, and it's all centered on decentralizing power. And this table here, it just lays it all out so clearly. It's a total shift in thinking. On one side, you've got that old top-down approach, where the government is the sole provider, it sees these settlements as illegal, and it just creates dependency. It failed. But the report argues for this other way, this bottom-up approach, where the government becomes a partner. It legalizes settlements and works with local communities to empower them. So what does that actually look like in practice? Well, the report lays out a new game plan. First, support the things that are already happening on the ground. Work with those neighborhood groups. Second, and this one is huge, make the settlements legal. Give people secure ownership of their land, because that's the foundation for everything else. Then, focus on providing the big stuff communities can't do themselves, like water mains and sanitation. And finally, offer technical help so people can build better, safer homes. So after all this, what's the big takeaway? What can we learn from this report that was written, nearly 40 years ago about our urban future? Well, the main message is actually pretty simple, but it's also incredibly powerful. Sustainable cities aren't built by grand master plans from on high. They grow from the ground up, built on the energy, the ingenuity, and the deep local knowledge of the very people who live there. And that kind of leaves us with a big, lingering question, doesn't it? I mean, our planet has only gotten more urban since 1987. The ideas in this document are more relevant now than ever before. So the real question is, as we keep building the cities of the 21st century, have we truly learned that lesson? Have we learned to stop seeing people as the problem and finally start seeing them as the solution?